Hi, welcome to my channel. Well, it's June 2020 and in the UK we're about 3 months into lockdown and the hairdressers and the barbers just aren't working, so please excuse my hair. We're not going to see them open until at least the beginning of July, and by then I'll be tripping over my hair. Anyway, this very short video is partly about Luminar and my desire to cut down my costs on photo and video editing software. So currently the Adobe Creative Cloud is something in the order of £600 a year. And of course it's subscription, so that's every year. So I'm looking to get some software and change my software so that it's probably a once-off purchase or maybe even a much lower subscription. And one of the tools I found is a product called Luminar 4, which is a great tool. It's a combination of sort of Photoshop, sort of Lightroom, not as sophisticated as either of them, but is a great tool that I think I'm going to put into my kit bag, probably with another video editing tool, which I'll talk to you about another day, and also another stills image editing tool as well to replace sort of the functionality of Photoshop. But today I'm just going to show you Luminar. I'm just going to quick canter through the product, show you some of the features, particularly about how it's so easy to take a very mediocre image and turning it into something that you're proud of to post on Facebook or use it for other purposes, sky replacement, and a number of other features as well. In order to demonstrate some of the features of Luminar, and by no means all of the features, I've taken a few photos that I've got out of my historical bank that aren't the best of images, and I've shown you how Luminar, with very, very little effort, a few clicks in fact, can really change them from something that's very mediocre and possibly something you'd even throw away to something that's worth keeping and maybe even sharing with your friends on places like Instagram or maybe Facebook. The sky replacement tool in Luminar is really very impressive. There's a whole range of skies that come with the product, and you can buy more. In fact, you can even use your own skies if you want to. And the speed and ease in which it inserts these skies to replace your skies, or indeed changes other aspects of the image in terms of the brightness with mask functions, often in a non-destructive way, is really quite impressive. It enables some very complex things that you want to do with images to be done really with a few clicks to really improve those images and help you turn mediocre photographs into really quite nice looking photographs. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. If you would like to try Luminar yourself, please click my link below. You get a 1-week free trial, and if you do decide to subscribe, it just helps fund this channel for the future. So here's an image I took when we were on a cruise in Norway. It's a fjord and it's on the way up to Flam, where, by the way, there's a fantastic railway that goes up into the mountain where you can see some super waterfalls and some other great scenery. But as you can see from this image, it's quite washed out. It's not the best. So what can we do to really quickly improve it and turn it into something that maybe it's not a true representation, but something we're fairly proud of? So the first thing we might do is select the AI image enhancer. And immediately that will add some colour to the vegetation, some contrast on the mountains. So already that's a much better image. The next thing we might want to do is put a bit of a different sky on it. So we can just use from the AI sky replacement tool and choose a dramatic sky. That adds a whole load of richness. So the other thing you might want to do is enhance the brightness, maybe the exposure. So we could turn that up just a touch and maybe have a little look at the contrast, which on this, it's got a smart contrast which helps you move it down. And already, it's still not the best of photographs, and it's certainly not the real photograph, but with a very few clicks you can turn it into something quite different than what it was. This picture is of a beach in the Caribbean. It was taken last year and the day clearly wasn't the best of days. What I want to do here is just show a few other things with the sky replacement. So if we do a dramatic sunset here, there's two things I want to show you. First of all, you notice that it relit all of this foreground, and we can demonstrate that by looking at the original image. You can just see it brighten it up and change the green. But the other thing is it's reflected a lot of the sky into the ocean as well, so it really does understand the context of the photographs. And the third thing I just want to bring out is really the quality of the masking. So this is a really complicated image because it's got lots of very fine detail to mask out. And with no zoom, you can see that it's managed to pick out the fronds of the palm leaves and put in the sky. But if we zoom in and just let it settle just for a second, you can just see the quality of the masking that it's used to take out the original sky and pop in this particular sky scenery. Now I know this is clearly not the original scenery, it wasn't taken at a sunset time, but it really does turn this photo into something that really was not particularly outstanding, into something you could definitely put maybe on your Facebook page or your Instagram site. So here's an image of Bletchley Park. This is a house in Bedfordshire in the UK. It's where the code breakers were in the Second World War, and they were decoding the secret messages on the German Enigma machines. The day we visited, as you can see, it was a relatively dull day. There was a bit of a rain in the air, and this building was quite beautiful, but the picture came out quite flat. So what I'd like to do is just enhance the colour first of all. So with the AI image enhancer, we will click that, and immediately it brings out the red of the brick and the yellow of the sandstone. Probably a little bit too vibrant, so we'll just ratchet it down a little bit to a level about there. The next thing is the sky's pretty uninteresting here. So using the sky replacement tool again, we can put a replacement sky, and I'll choose Blue Sky 5, and we put some wispy cloud in the sky, and already that sort of lifts the photo a bit. We have a rather messy drive here. Now, one of the great things about this product is you can do non-destructive editing. So if we choose clone and stamp, rather like you can in Photoshop or Lightroom, we can choose the position where we want to take a sample from. Say there, we can reduce the size of the clone tool, and then we can just soften out that drive. Just take some of the bad potholes in. We can do a resampling point maybe there. We'll do some there. Like many other tools as well, you can choose the brush size, the softness, and also the opacity of the brush. Now this is not perfect, you need to spend a bit of time on it, but immediately you can brighten it all up. So what that clone and stamp did, it created a layer which we can turn on and off like many other programs, and you can see the drive there returning, or not as the case may be, when we turn it on. And of course you can delete this if you don't like this. It's non-destructive, you can take it away completely. But I also think maybe the grass is a little bit too green here as well, so maybe we can just reduce the saturation just a tad, just to bring it down a little bit, and maybe just take the exposure just up a touch. And you can see how good you've got it by taking this slider, and you can compare the original, which is a fairly flat image, with something that looks quite nice. Or you can use this flip, just flip on and off, turn off the side of there, and just go backwards and forwards like that. Now all of these edits are completely non-destructive. So what we can do, we can go back to this symbol here, which is a history, and we can go back one level or many levels, and these are all the commands that have been executed across this various session that we're doing here, and we can take the image back to whatever level we like, or indeed we can take all of these edits off because they're non-destructive and start again. This is an image of the Cuttiss Ark taken in Greenwich, which is east of London in the United Kingdom. Cuttiss Ark's about 150 years old, and it was an incredibly fast ship built particularly to go to Asia, China particularly, to transport tea back to the UK and Europe. So as you can see, this photo was taken on a fairly dreary day. It was actually taken with my phone, and the first thing we could do with the AI image enhancer is we could just tidy it up, and it brightens up the sky and a few other bits. We'll take it down a level there. Next thing we'll notice, just about here, we got a picture of what looks like a guy sitting on a bicycle maybe. So let's see how we can do that. So using one of the clone and stamp tools, there we go, we can do the erase. Prepares the image. What we're going to do is we are going to paint over this person fairly carefully, like that. Click done, and hopefully the person should be largely magicked out of the picture. And there we have it done. so that person's gone. So we've got a nice cleaned up image. This blue here is quite good, but we could do with enhancing it a little bit. So if we go to the brightness, we go to color. Now the problem is if we move around saturation here, we change the saturation over the whole picture. So slightly more advanced feature, we can put an edit mask on. So we'll put a mask on with a brush. We'll turn the button on so that we can see where the mask is. We'll reduce the size of my brush. We'll just paint along this blue strip. Now I'm not being terribly careful here, just to demonstrate the point to you. Be a lot more careful if you want super sharp images. I've also not got the opacity at 100% because we don't want it to be too blue. And there's our mask. And just like any other masks, we can, in other programs, we can invert them. We can put them back to where it was originally. And then once we've got this mask in place, what we can then do is maybe change the vibrance and the saturation. Let me put them up quite high just to demonstrate the point, and you can see it just affects that particular area of the image. So we just take it down a little bit as well. So you can play around very precisely. Now if you don't like this, you can just turn it off and it goes back to how it was, or using this return key you can just reset it completely. So once again, not the best of images, but we take something that was fairly mediocre and just lift it a little bit to make it a little bit brighter. The other thing you could do here is we could just drop a little bit of sunshine into here. So let's put a sun ray. I don't know, where should we have the sun? It's not really terribly appropriate for here, but let's just put the sun there, shall we? What we'll do, we'll bursting through the clouds. We'll have the sun ray that will make it penetrate a bit more, and that could be sort of a very much a UK sort of day there, where the sun is just trying to peek through the skies. Again, another little lift to the image. So this is what Luminar looks like. You have a film strip down here, which just holds various images that you're working on, and you can flip between. These are looks, so we've seen this already. It's the AI image enhancer. You can change the black and white. They're sort of profiles of pictures. Over here is your working box of various different effects that you've got, or layers. And across the top you can turn various aspects of the screen on or off, or change them. So here are the looks down here. If you want more picture area, you can turn them off and on. Over here we've already seen we can turn the original picture on or off, edited, original. We've got crop up there, export. Now if we want to see the film strip over here, but we want to see more of them and different sizes, you can look at it that way. And over in this area you can navigate different areas to look at. So this particular image, we can look at its info, we can look at the camera it was shot on, what speed, etc. We can go into the edit mode, which is what we were already in, or we can look at library, where we can see all of our photos, whether we've got albums or folders. If we take a particular image, so this is one we edited earlier here, and we've got the sky that we put in, and we've got the tarmac that we sorted out there. If we go back to the edit mode here, we have a history, and what we can actually do here is we can go back to the original, so we can remove all of the edits that we've done. We just take them away. They're completely non-destructive. If you realise that was a bit dramatic, you can undo that with Control Z or Command Z, and it'll put them all back again. But better still, you can go back to a particular place. So I don't know, you might want to go back just to the sky replacement, which was sometime before we did the clone replacement here, and it just takes you back in time. The other thing you've got here, and you can turn off and on as well, is a histogram. And we can look at our layers. We've only got one layer here that we did a clone and stamp when we did the tarmac, but you can have many layers, so each layer could do a little bit of it. You can rename these layers. And the other thing you can do is you can like photos in a number of different ways. So you can give it a star rating, so this could be a 3-star photo or a 5-star photo, depending on what you thought of it. You've sort of got a like or a dislike function, so you can just set it like or not like, or you could give it a color coding. And using a combination of all of those, when you're actually looking in the library view here, you can see various different things. So maybe we want to see only photos that are 4-star or better. It looks like I'm going to be keeping Luminar because I really quite like it. It does what it does very well. I am also considering making a number of videos about how to use certain of the features. So if you'd like me to do that, see some more videos in the series, very short videos I think about specific features of the software and how to use them, how to get the most out of them, leave a comment below, give me some encouragement, and if you want to see some particular features, also tell me which ones as well, and I'll make some videos over a series in the coming weeks. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that quick run through of Luminar, some of its features, but by no means all of its features, and look forward to seeing you next time on my next video. Thank you, goodbye.